Hello, I'm Morgan Watkins, Athletic Director at Morristown East.
I'm Calvin Decker, Athletic Director at Morristown West.
And we are going to try to provide some tips and tricks and just some basic education about what Hamblen County basketball will look like at Morristown East and Morristown West. We're going to use a little bit of a script so we don't forget anything. I'm going to start out with ticket sales. There will be no tickets sold at the gate at either school. All tickets will be available for purchase on GoFan, and you will be able to purchase those tickets through that. We will send a link to our coaches. So those that are participating, athletes, cheerleaders, anybody that's participating in that event will have an opportunity to purchase tickets. Each school will have a set amount. The away school will also receive a set amount that will be set by the individual school. All tickets will be $6, but there will be an additional convenience fee that will be through GoFan, so you'll see that attached when you purchase.
Okay, now some general expectations of the spectators who will be coming into the games. Everyone entering will have their temperature checked and will be required to wear a mask at all times. This is basically for the safety of our athletes. We're trying to give our kids an opportunity to play as many games as possible as this season as we can. So we feel like that the mask is an important part, and apparently it's been proven to be an important part to make sure we wear that. The PA announcer will remind spectators quite often about being appropriately socially distanced in the stands, just to keep everybody apart and separated. Spectators at our school will be isolated from the teams, which we'll discuss later at a given time. All spectators will be required to have a ticket to enter, so basically you'll get your ticket on GoFan and you'll have it validated when you walk into our school, walk into our gym. No passes of any kind will be accepted. That includes teacher badges, TSSAA passes, TACA passes, and whatever other passes are that are out there. The only thing you can get in with is with a ticket. No re-entry will be allowed, which we've done all during football season, so most folks should be used to that. So that's basically all the spectator expectations that I have.
Yep, that's what we have also. As far as concessions, when you do come in, you will have the opportunity to purchase concessions at both high schools. There will be a limited number of items similar to what you saw during football season, mainly prepackaged items. And we do ask that you have exact change. So you will need cash for those items, and exact change is required. We will not be able to provide change.
Media requirements. We expect to see the Citizens Tribune and some other local papers to come in, along with radio teams and things of that nature. Occasionally we'll have a TV crew or two show up. The media, they'll be asked to be wearing a mask at any time they're interviewing players or coaches or anything of that nature. And the photographers can work the sideline as long as they have on their mask.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the benches. Mr. Decker already mentioned that at Morristown West, the benches would be isolated basically from the spectators. It will be like that at Morristown East also. So with both schools, we will have only authorized personnel there at the benches. If you have had the opportunity to see any NBA games, it's going to look very similar to that. Those benches will be kind of like in a bubble. And so the benches will be staggered kind of in a diagonal. There'll be several rows, and they will be spaced out 6 feet. We will clean the benches after each use. So on nights where there are 3 games, JV will play. The bench will be cleaned and disinfected at both schools, both benches, home and away, before the next team comes in. Players will be required to use their own water bottle, so that's home and away. We won't provide water, but they can, of course, bring a water bottle and use that. Home teams would most likely have water bottles with names on them. Again, limited personnel would be at the benches. Everyone on the bench would be asked to wear a mask. So when players are warming up, they won't be in a mask. As long as they're participating, they won't have to wear a mask. But those that are on the bench, assistant coaches, managers, trainers, while they're on the bench area, they would be required to wear a mask. The head coach will have a mask on, but can have that down when they are actively coaching. And then, of course, players that, as long as they are participating in the game at that time, they would not have to have a mask on just when they're on the bench.
And as far as the cheerleaders are concerned, there will be no visiting cheerleaders that will come to either one of our gyms. It basically just be the home cheerleaders, and the home cheerleaders will be socially distancing. And what they'll do there is they'll split their squad in half, one half on one sideline and the other half on the other sideline. That will keep them socially distanced and keep a lot of space between the girls. And the girls will also be required, or if there's any guys, they'll be required to wear a mask unless they're actually cheering at that particular time.
That'll go for our dance team as well. We will ask them to wear a mask as they're entering and exiting the court before, and they will not have to wear one when they perform, but they would need them on other times. Last but not least, we're going to go over some general guidelines. Again, this will be happening at Morristown East and at Morristown West. So when you come to Hamblen County, whether it's to play us or if you are just being a fan, then these are just some things to note. We will have 3 games. The max that we would have at any given night is 3 games. So there'll be 1 JV game, which would begin at 4:30 for both schools, varsity girls at 6, and varsity boys at 7:30. That's the set game times. Like I said, no more than 3 games. It could be less than that if for some reason a JV game is canceled, but for the most part, 3 games, 4:30, 6, and 7:30.
And then the freshman games, they'll always be played at 7 o'clock unless there's some reason to have to change the time for those also because of weather or whatever it may be.
Again, just kind of some general things as far as coming in, the temperature check things that we went over. Anybody that's ages 2 and over would need to have a mask on. And then we know that there are, of course, some individuals that have special needs or would require something. That's okay. Just speak to the gatekeepers or speak to one of us, and we'll make sure that you're taken care of if there are any issues or health concerns with why you are not able to wear a mask. But everyone else, we would ask that you have the mask on, and you will be required to wear that all times. One other thing to mention is that if there is a team that is required to cancel for COVID-19, let's say that my girls team happens to be whatever, they have had to cancel. That does not mean that the boys team would have to cancel. So there could be some nights where you go and see just a girls game or you see just a boys game. We would not require the other team to automatically cancel just because of one team having to cancel.
And all of our staff that'll be working the games also, they'll also be wearing masks. So it's not like it's just something being placed on the spectators. Basically, everyone that's going to be in the gym area will be required to be wearing a mask. So it's all of us trying to take care of our players so they can get as many games in as they possibly can before the season ends.
And we'll be in our mask. We're doing this so you can make sure that you can understand us and see everything that we're saying. But we will have our masks on as well. Can you think of anything else?
Nope.
One thing I will mention, if GoFan is something that you're uncomfortable with or you haven't bought a ticket online, you can call one of us, call our office. We'll help you through that process. If you're coming in, like me, for instance, I have 3 sons who I would buy a ticket for. If for some reason they are coming in at a separate time with me, if you'll let our gatekeepers know. So if I have 4 tickets purchased, those 4 tickets could go ahead and be validated, and then I would leave the names of my kids if they're coming in at a separate time, or maybe if you have an older person in your family you're buying the ticket for them and they come separately from you, just let us know that at the gate so we can take care of them.
Or you can just simply transfer the ticket to someone else who has a smartphone, see if it's a different situation than what they've got. If you're coming in and your wife's not with you, all of a sudden you just transfer that ticket to her, and that way she would have that ticket, so when she comes in, it can be validated when she comes into the gym.
Yep, we're here to help, and like I said, this is just for educational purposes so that you guys will know what to expect. We know that things are really different right now, but we want to be the best season that we can have in Hamblen County for our basketball teams. They've worked really hard, and we want them to get as many games safely as possible.